This is Tim, and today I'm going to teach you why natural talent costs high-ticket sales reps thousands of dollars in commissions every single month. There's a massive problem in relying on natural talent. Relying on natural talent will keep you broke. And I'll start with this. As a confession, I got in high-ticket sales because of my own natural talent. I had been dating coach for years. Some of you who follow my stuff already know that. And I had also sold my own high-ticket offers. So I was doing some sales. I was making 5K a month here, 10K a month. Sometimes I'd make a little bit more than that. And then my business crashed and I thought, oh, I can get into high-ticket sales because I'm good at selling people, because I know how to communicate. I understand how to be charismatic. I'm relying on natural talent. And I got on a B2C BizOp offer. It was an offer that was 5K at the time, and it was helping people become appointment setters online, which is actually a shit offer in my opinion. But I got on that offer as my first one. The business owner hired me actually on the same day that I did the interview. And I got cooked. I got absolutely destroyed. I could barely close at 10%. It was a huge problem. And I stayed broke for quite a while because I was relying on my natural talent. But luckily for me, which I'm going to explain to you here, how to do this yourself, is I was humble and I was smart enough to be able to adjust my energetic focus, not towards, oh, I'm good, let me figure out how to use my natural gifts to close, but instead, I shifted my focus into prioritizing my skill set as a sales rep. My skill set meaning the actual technique of selling outside of just being confident or just being charismatic or carrying myself well on camera, which a lot of people getting into sales or people who are already in sales, stuck at that 4 to 6K a month in commissions, they think that's enough. I just know how to carry myself. I'm good at sales because of that. But I prioritized my skill set, and then I ended up making hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions, multiple months, 15K plus in commissions, earned over 200K in just over 12 months as a remote sales rep. And I've since then trained multiple sales reps to hit 15, 20, 25K plus in commissions, and have hired and built sales teams that have performed very, very well across different offers. So what I'm going to look at with you here is the idea of being natural in sales and why that actually doesn't work. And before I go into why it doesn't work and we talk sales, I want to give you a good example, because this is not just a sales principle. This also is a principle we see in sports. You see it a lot in sports, a lot in athletics. You see athletes who come into a certain sport as a young player. They're young, they have all this potential, they're hyped up, they're expected to be great, but they don't have the work ethic to actually work on their skill set. They don't have the humility to work on their skill set. Instead, their ego-driven path is, I'm naturally talented, I know that I'm good, and thus they never fulfill who they're supposed to actually be. An example of this, most of you probably won't know this person's name, but I used to be a huge American football fan. I don't watch it anymore, but when I was younger, I used to be a really big football fan. And there was this guy named Russell, and he was a quarterback who was coming out of college. He was out of university, and he was just expected to be the next great quarterback. He was able to throw the ball so far. He was a super strong, tall guy. He had some success in college. He performed really well. And he was drafted. The draft is where they bring players that are out of university, they bring them into the professional leagues, for the first time to compete professionally. They drafted him number 1. This is back in 2007. And this guy was super talented, right? He had a big arm. Big arm means he could throw the ball really far. He was world class in terms of talent, but he became an absolute bust, and he was out of the league, I think, within 3 or 4 years. And now I don't know what he does, but he's driving Uber or something. Seriously, no joke. He's lost all his money. Dude's in a really bad place. I feel bad for the guy, but he never made it. He was considered one of the biggest busts in the NFL history, which means someone who was supposed to be great, but they never became great. And here's why. He had amazing raw talent, but he had zero discipline. He never ever invested the time, the energy, or the effort to become great based on the talent that he had, right? And I see this with a lot of sales reps. I see it all the time with people that we talk to that come and book strategy calls with us, people that, that I talk to just in our community, people I talk to on Instagram. I see it all the time. People believing that they're so good because they have this natural talent and they've been in a little community that's maybe $100 a month, or they've paid for a course, kind of like a closer cartel type of course, and they paid for that, and that's their entry point into sales, right? And they perform, they knock out a couple of role plays, and then they get on their first offer and they do decently, they close at 20%, and they're like, oh, I'm really, really good now. But you're not good. And I'm not saying this to attack if you're this kind of person and you're watching this, I'm saying this because I want you to make money. And I'm being really honest with you, I'm being real with you here. I want you to make money because I was this person. The same thing happened to me. I had been in it years before, I'd been in this NEPQ sales course, a dentist sales program. I had all this stuff about the basic scripts. I knew what discovery was. I knew that you have to handle objections. I knew all that stuff. I even helped some of my dating clients with their businesses and, basic stuff with sales. This is way long ago. But I really didn't know how to sell at scale, which means perform as a high ticket sales rep where I'm taking 60 to 80 calls a month and I'm pushing for those months of 10K, 15K, 20K plus, like I train my reps how to do now, like I've done myself, right? And the reason why is because I believed that all it took was me being natural, confident, having a couple good conversations, being a leader, being a good communicator, and that I would be able to close. But unfortunately, or fortunately, actually I think this is good because I think the people who don't earn it won't make it, which is really the truth. The truth is that that natural talent is very, very dangerous in high ticket sales, and there's two specific reasons for this, okay? Number one is you get very comfortable with your own frequency and you start to adjust less to difficult or prospects or like challenging offers. So what happens is it's very easy to have one conversation with someone one time, sure, but when you're doing that at scale, which means over the span of 30 days, taking 5 to 8 calls a day, and you're consistently doing that and your income is dependent on that, it starts to move from, hey, I'm able to get on a couple calls and have some good conversations, to actually, my pockets are directly dependent on my ability to repeat a certain skill. You know what another really good example of this is? Acting. I used to think that I could be a really good actor. I always believed that I could, and maybe I could still if I practiced, but I haven't trained in any acting theory or any acting fundamentals in a very long time. But when I was younger, around university time, a path of mine I was thinking was, maybe I'd go for acting, maybe I'd go into film, and I was very invested in film, very invested in acting. And I went for a couple auditions, I got one commercial, never got anything else. I auditioned for some TV shows, some short films, I never got anything, right, except for one commercial, and that I got through a connection. Didn't even get paid for, well, got paid a little bit for it, but not much. But so what was interesting is I thought that I could be good at acting, right? And the reason I thought I could be good at acting is because, going back to the natural thing, I've always been a really good communicator. I've always been relatively confident. I've always been quite expressive. I grew up in an environment where I was taught to be expressive and share my ideas and share my feelings and share my emotions. So all of that made me think, oh, I'm probably naturally good at acting. But then what would happen is when the lights would come on and I would be told, stand on the X and embody these emotions, embody these feelings, right? When that was told to me, what happened? How did I present myself? I crumbled under that pressure. And it isn't crumbled like I couldn't do anything, I couldn't repeat lines, I couldn't say anything. That wasn't the issue. The problem was that I hadn't invested energy in the skill set necessary to be able to perform in that specific sliver, that specific niche, that specific nuance of pressure that is required when you're an actor performing on screen or on stage. Does that make sense? So my natural gifts weren't enough to perform at the highest level, aka the athlete who, when they're in university, can make some cool passes, or if you follow soccer, football, as I call it, living in Budapest and I live in Hungary. If you follow football, right, make some nice kicks, hit the hockey puck, right? You can do all that at high school, university level, but once you get to the big leagues, where now you're competing with the best of the best, again, high ticket sales isn't the same thing, and I'll bring it into high ticket sales in a second. Stick with me. This is some valuable teaching here that really can help make you money if you let it sit with you. But what happens is when you get to the big leagues, there's more nuance required. There are more variations in what you're going to experience. So as an example, going back to me, I thought, and this is now where it applies to high ticket sales, I thought that I'd be really good because I had closed a few deals, because I knew how to talk, because I knew how to communicate. But then when I was confronted with 5, 6, 7 calls a day, and I was consistently getting a varied sample size of different prospects, people that had a great deal of resistance, people that were in a bad place in their lives, people that had a crazy amount of fear, when I was confronted with that, I didn't actually know how to respond to it. I didn't know how to handle it properly at scale. The reason is because I didn't have the skill set needed to be able to repeat the exact same actions over and over and over again and execute, which is where your income in remote sales as a high ticket closer is going to come from, right? The second problem, and this is is part of the first one. But the second issue is when you experience challenges, when you experience unique situations, and you're relying only on natural talent, you're significantly less prepared to actually drive those situations and drive those conversations forward. And I've seen it many times. I have a really interesting story that I was hiring for NeroKnowledge. This is someone that some of you all know. Nero was a great guy, someone I really, really respect a lot, and I helped him build a sales process and hired a sales team. So I was hiring for him. This is sometime late 2024, was last year. And I was interviewing people. I said, I'm hiring for a creator, for B2C offer, business coaching or B2B type business coaching offer, etc., reality creation, reality mastery type. Come, apply. And we got, I don't know how many applications I got, like 15 plus applications. Most of them weren't good, so I didn't even respond, or I think I sent like a copy paste, hey, sorry, not a good fit right now, but there was maybe 6, 7 people I was like, okay, this is a good idea. We can do this. Most of the people that I interviewed, I'm not joking, all of them, they had come from some level of corporate sales or some level where they were selling some basic shit, and they're like, and I was like, what makes you good? I'm confident, I know how to present myself, I know how to lead, I understand what makes someone make a decision, and I love to help people. None of that has anything to do with you understanding the fundamental frameworks that go into executing in sales. None of it. None of that has anything to do with you being good at sales. Again, I want to pull back for a second because I tend to get ahead of myself, but the training is still helpful. Stick with me. I'm not saying none of that has nothing to do with you getting good at sales, but I would rather you be some guy or girl who's a poor communicator at first and is not as confident and then levels up and becomes that person. A really good example of this is Husham. He's one of our old protocols clients, and he's our performance coach in protocols right now. And I still work with him one-on-one personally. He's a killer. He's closing on an offer in the Australian market, closing on a B2B offer. He's making money. He's like smashing it right now. Really, we'll have him on the channel soon. Really, really good kid, making a lot of money, doing well. When he came to us and started training with me, this is earlier this year, he jumped in with us, or it could have been the end of last year, one of the two. I think it could have been the end of last year. Maybe he came in during Black Friday, but he came in with us, and dude's not a weirdo. So if you're watching this, Husham, I love you. He's not a weirdo by any means, but he wasn't the most confident guy. He was always kind of like too jokey, didn't have the strongest boundaries about communication, leadership, and all that. Fast forward to 7 months from now, 6 months later, however long it's been, he is one of the best sales reps that I know. He's one of the best sales reps I train. In fact, I hired him to be the performance coach inside of our coaching program, right? He's helping our people in terms of motivation, mindset, all that stuff. But he's a perfect example of this, and I have other people like this that I've trained. He's an example of this. I'd rather someone who's not natural, but respects the process of doing the work and then builds a skill set. And I'll teach you how in a second. So I'm going to give you some straight money-making sauce just about now, but stick with me. I would rather someone who is not the most confident, who isn't just a natural leader, who isn't just the bro or the girl who knows how to present themselves well on camera and has this ego about, oh, I'm good already, I think I have what it takes. Seriously, I fucking hate that shit. When people say, I think I have what it takes, excuse my language, but I really don't like that. And it's not because someone shouldn't say, I believe in myself, because I would always say that too. I believe I have what it takes. That's how I see myself as a person. So I'm with that. But when you have people in sales and I'm talking to them and they're like, I'm like, what's holding you back in terms of this? I just need an offer because I know that I'm a natural salesperson. I'm like, no, you probably really suck. And if I told you to take 5 to 8 calls a day over the next 30 days, you'd get cooked and you'd probably close at 10, 15%, and the people you would close would be all the laydowns, like the easy ones. Someone gives you objections, I need to think about it, run it by my partner, because we have a lot of things going on in our life just personally, and I need to take time with myself to make sure this can really fit. Yeah, natural talent isn't going to beat that. Sorry, your natural skill set and you being a people person is not going to help you beat that. Zero at all. It comes down to skill set, and Husham is an example of that. Our other people we train, are examples of that. Now, okay, the question is, how do you actually use this training to make money? If you're not going to rely on natural skill set, what do you do? Because I do believe that there is a place you can get to in sales where you become natural. I absolutely believe that, and I'm going to explain it to you here. The thing is, you don't want to rely on talent. You don't want to just rely on talent. So there's a 3-step formula to getting to the point where you can rely on being natural and you can become naturally good, but it doesn't start with I'm talented. It starts with something else. So number 1, there's 3 pieces. Number 1 are the fundamentals. Learn the fundamentals of scripting and the fundamentals of objection handling. That's number 1. And everyone that we train All the people that I bring into protocols that come work with me, we start with that. Your scripting and your objection handling. That's number one. Do you have a solid script that you're following? And again, the way I teach sales over time, over a longer period of time, is not where you should memorize an entire script or where you should be stuck to the script. I do not teach sales that way. But the root fundamentals are you should have some kind of baseline script that you're working on, that you're working with, that you know by heart, that you know so deeply and so intimately, where the script is tattooed on your heart, soul, and mind. You should know it so deeply, because out of that scripting is where elite performance and elite success is going to come from, which is then where your money's going to come from, where your income is going to come from, right? So what I want to do is I want to rely first on a script and objection handling fundamentals. I need to know exactly what to do when different situations pop up. So all of our people, we have our protocol sheets. We have this, and actually I give it away on my Instagram. I forgot, I never mention that here because I sometimes forget that I give it away, but some people write me about it. But if you message me protocol on Instagram or protocols, I'm actually going to send you our objection handling cheat sheet for free. You don't even have to put an email in. I just send you the link and you can grab the PDF, just so you know. And then I'm going to ask you if you're a closer, where you're at in sales, to see if we can help. But before we do any of that, I'm just going to send it to you. So just message me on IG. My IG is down below. You can find it. Don't be lazy. I'm not going to say it here. Scroll below, do a little bit of work, and find my IG and message me and get the thing. But anyway, so what we do is we start with scripting, right? Memorize a basic fundamental framework, because then you can anchor to that in your progression to becoming naturally good at sales. That's the process, right? So script first, memorize that, have that locked in, have that dialed in, where you don't even have to think, and you just are, and you just be, and you just become, and you just are this person. You go from there, and then you build, right? That's what we do first. Number one, fundamentals. Get your scripting and your objection handling down. Number two is nuance. So nuance means application of the fundamentals in varying situations. And I'm telling you the process I take my people through. That we got sales reps that are elite performers that are making a fuck ton of money. You've seen them on my channel, you know, and we put them on my IG and shout people out. We've got people making good money. And what happens is the process is first we go with fundamentals, secondly we go with nuance. So the nuance is applying the fundamentals in various situations, right? So when you have various situations that come up throughout your sales game, throughout your process, how do you apply these pieces of scripting, these fundamentals in the different situations? So that's why you role play challenging situations. So I'll role play, let's say a busy fitness offer, a busy mom who just got a divorce. She just got a divorce and she lost her job, or she's getting a new job. Let's go with that. She's getting a new job and she's currently in a busy time in life, so she's not sure if fitness is something she should invest time or money in right now. How do you handle that? That's where you would apply the fundamentals to that varying situation. Another example, right? People, let's say you're selling an investing program, helping people invest in property, real estate investment coaching, right? And you get some guy who's retiring. He's retiring from law, and his brother-in-law is running a real estate investment firm. So he's wondering if he should just learn from his brother-in-law and kind of partner with them versus working with an outside company and investing here when he feels like he might get similar information from his brother-in-law. Do you see what I mean? You really think that I'm naturally good at talking to people is going to help you handle that? No, it's not. That literally comes from skill set and from fundamentals and from getting so many reps in and being so diabolically good at understanding the process and the game and the psychology, the fundamentals of sales and of scripting and of psychology. That's how you're going to make money, right? On really good offers. So me, as an example, in the dating offer, me being at closing 20K deals, doing 15K plus in commissions consistently, that reality that I was living in, the results that I was having, that didn't come from me being a natural. I had to actually abandon, I'm a naturally good communicator. I had to move away from that and let that go fully before I was able to make a lot of money and sell a 20K dating offer, right? And it was only once I started to say skill set is the number one thing for me that I could become natural. So that was number two, applying the fundamentals in varying situations. And then number three, this is where it gets fun, is integration. And my more advanced guys, the people we train at like the highest levels, this is what we do here. We take the fundamentals, we take the nuance, and we make it natural. Right? So the fundamentals, the nuance, we make them natural. We make it a natural progression, a natural part of how you actually sell. But it starts from you memorizing scripting. It starts from you understanding the fundamentals applied to varying contexts and varying situations. And then from there, you earn the right to become natural. But it's not talent. It's not I'm talented. I'm a talented communicator. I've always been a good leader. I've always liked people. I've always been good at talking. If you're saying those things to yourself and you're like, I should be making money in high ticket sales, you're either in the wrong industry, that's one, maybe, or you need to humble yourself. And I think if you really want to make money and take it seriously and you feel like this is for you, then the second one is the other option is humble yourself. That's the right one. Humble yourself and say, okay, it's actually not just my talent. And you know what's interesting? I know a bunch of people like this. We just had a couple guys come in, really, really good dudes that I'm training right now. You know, I won't say names yet, but because they just came in recently, I'll wait for them to get a little comfortable. But you know, we have some good people that came in, guys that were on V-Shred, got closing on the V-Shred offer, and they got on that offer. As some of you know, I'm starting to say names here now. They get on the fucking V-Shred offer, and they're told like, hey, you pay money to get on this offer, pay some money, and we'll put you on the offer. You know why they're doing that? It's amazing. I think it's such a good business model. I don't even think it's unethical because you're just preying on people's egos. It's not like OnlyFans or some shit that I think is a little weird and makes people worse. If people believe I'm a good closer, sure, pay us money and we're gonna give you leads and you can prove that you're a good closer. Everyone gets fired, everyone gets let go from that offer who pays to be on the V-Shred offer, pretty much everyone, right? But when we talk to people like this all the time on our funnel, people who come in and book calls with us, we're like, dude, don't go to V-Shred, don't pay for it because you're not good enough to actually close right now. You're not good enough. You need probably 3 to 4 months of proper training before I'd say you're elite level at sales. And every person, most people are like, no, I think I could do it. They pay for V-Shred, then they come back to us 2 months later, they're like, I'm about to get fired because I'm closing at 10%. And then we whip them into shape and they either close more on V-Shred or get on a better offer and end up smashing it 30+%, right? That's the game, that's what happens, right? Because people believe that this is easier than it actually is. People believe that you can just rely on some natural talent, when in actuality, you need to learn the fundamentals, okay? Rant is over. Hopefully this was a lesson that made a little bit of sense and can give you some insights in the journey as you're here making money with high ticket sales, whatever offer you're on, you know, pushing for greatness. That's all. I'm gonna leave you there. Be blessed, take care, make some money. One more thing, if you would like, can't believe I forgot to mention this, if you would like me and my team to help you can book a strategy call with us down below. It's completely free. It's a 15-minute call. We're not going to pitch you or sell you anything, like hand over my heart before God. It's a 15-minute call where we just figure out if we can help. And at the end of the call, we're going to either point you in the right direction and give you some resources that we think could be a good decision for you on your journey to making money with high ticket sales if you're on an offer, or we're going to say, hey, we feel like based on your situation, we can make you a whole bunch more money and train you and help you get better at sales. One of those two things will happen. We won't pitch you anything. We're not going to break down any of our offers to sell you. Okay. Check that out below. I'll see you later. Go make some money. Goodbye.